We're here to answer Wrestlepalooza's biggest questions. I'm Will, that's Brandon. We're the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. As always, cheers, talk about some wrestling, huh?
Yeah, we got some big questions here, the good, the bad, the in-between. The first big ESPN show, so there's got to be some big questions along with that.
Yeah, I mean, we're all expecting the first big show on ESPN to come with a bunch of surprises. And I mean, they've tried to do their best with this card. Headlined by probably John Cena, Brock Lesnar. Those are two big-time names to the general public's eyes. So it feels like they're going to make this a big-time event, right? Should be good. And speaking of that, come watch it with us on YouTube, youtube.com/COD live stream and SmackDown before that. But let's get into this. We just talked about it. That's obviously the biggest part of this show, first ESPN PLE. Because it's the first ESPN PLE, do we think we're going to get any big-time returns? Maybe a Bianca Belair or even The Rock?
I'm going to go Bianca Belair on this one. I think this one, the chances of her showing up at least go up drastically if that Tiffany match was on the card, but obviously, I guess news is that it's not. So maybe she just comes out and makes some sort of appearance or something. I don't know about a big return, like a big Rock or anything like that, because it's just like they might just have a little backstage segment. Now, The Rock, I could see him coming back and introducing, I guess, well, that maybe Triple H, but somebody's going to come out and introduce WWE ESPN. So that's going to probably be Triple H, but who knows? Maybe The Rock comes out then.
Yeah, I mean, they did it on Netflix. Yeah. They did it on Netflix. The Rock came out and totally broke character there because that was when we were still kind of a part of the Rock Cody story, and he just walked out and was like, hey, I love Cody Rhodes and welcome to Netflix, everybody. So I could foresee something like The Rock maybe making an appearance saying, hey, everybody, welcome to ESPN, making a big thing. But in terms of like big time returns, WWE is big on the moment right now. We just had AJ Lee make a big time return, and it feels like Bianca's basically almost back because she did show up to the WrestleMania press conference for the Saudi show and stuff like that. I'd personally love to see her and just be like, hey, I'm coming for Tiffany's belt. I'd be like, that's good with me. So I don't know if we get it, but I would sure love it. It's kind of my answer.
Yeah, and that whole thing in terms of, I agree, I'm right there with you, but for something as simple as that or as little as that, I might just see her doing a backstage promo, they cut backstage and she's there or something.
Something like that. For the rest of these, I think we're going to go match by match. I'm looking down at my sheet, my little card here. I kind of randomized the matches. They're not in any specific order here. So we'll just start with what we think is probably, the least... just it's the Uso match. All right. There's all these other matches kind of have a belt or like a big time return or you're a John Cena match, something like that.
Steam,
yeah, there's the least amount of steam, in my opinion, kind of going into this one. We do have the Usos taking on Braun and Bronson Reed. Big question going into this matchup between the Usos and the Brawns. Jey Uso, he's sort of a wild card at the moment. Do we foresee him maybe turning on his brother at Wrestlepalooza?
Yeah, definitely. And in terms of like the less steam, they've done a really good job in terms of building a story around this specific part of it. You're like, okay, I'm actually really invested in it. It's not just a Usos reunion tag match. But in terms of Jey turning on Jimmy, I'm going to say no on this one. I think it's not going to be a cut and dry, hey, I'm turning on you, I'm against you sort of thing. I think Jey in this match is going to do what's best for Jey. And I don't think that he does it in terms of like in spite of Jimmy, but maybe in his eyes, he does think that, hey, maybe Jimmy's not looking out for me, so I'm going to look out for myself sort of thing. Him being on the phone and, leaving a voicemail, I assume, to Roman Reigns about, hey, I've got some questions for you. That's interesting to me. Him trying to boss around Jimmy is very interesting. I think Jey takes a step in the direction of, it's all me now.
Yeah, I'm with you. I do think this isn't going to be like a heel turn or like a moment where him and Jimmy are looking at each other and Jay's like, nah, screw you type of moment. I do think it's just going to be like what's best for me. And I'm just going to kind of take business into my own hands. And that's probably what ends up costing them this match one way or another. I don't think we fully get a Jey heel turn really at all. And if we do, I think we wait till Roman Reigns is back on screen. Like I think it'll be a moment where Jay's going to would get in Roman's face more so than he would like just get in Jimmy's face during a tag team match. So while I don't foresee a full-on Jey Uso heel turn, I do think that he will go into business for himself and cost them this match. Is kind of what I'm going with. And then, I mean, the obvious other question here is, are we going to get LA Knight running in there and causing some shenanigans after he did BFT to Jey Uso on Monday night?
Hey, you got to love some shenanigans here. I'm going to say no on this one. I think LA Knight got his lick back, I guess, for lack of a better term, right? Like he did what he needed to do, right? Jey attacks him. He attacks Jey, And now they're even, I think. I think he was, Jay was like, hey, we're even now. And then LA Knight's like, no, we're not even. Okay, BFT, now we're even. So now I think maybe LA Knight doesn't make an appearance here, but then they maybe just revisit it on Raw on Monday.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I mean, look, I'm not going to bet against a distraction in this day and age of WWE. I could see distractions happening, and let me count almost all the freaking matches if we wanted to right now. But so I'm not going to count that out, and it probably will happen. But I think the better way to do this would be to just treat it like that. They are even now, and maybe we even get something before, maybe a backstage segment. Maybe when they walk in, when they're all coming through the garage, they go up to each other, and LA Knight's just kind of like, hey, take care of them tonight, but I got you tomorrow. Something like that, So something small leading to past Wrestlepalooza more so than like LA Knight inserting himself into like the decision of the match, right?
Yeah. And like you said, there's enough shenanigans that could go on in all the other matches that it's like, I kind of want one that I think we're not going to maybe get one. So, and I guess maybe the mixed tag, but like it would be nice for the Vision at the end of the day to stand on their own.
I completely agree. Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch, man, they're doing some dang good stuff as a good old heel wrestling couple right now. They even got good old AJ Lee to return to help CM Punk. Obviously, a huge time mixed tag team match happening at Wrestlepalooza. I think we're all in agreement here that Seth and Becky are probably losing this one. The real question is, who's really going to fail who here? On Monday, it looked like Becky wasn't in the business of backing up her husband until they did have the smarts to make that happen. But we think that somebody's going to fail somebody here. Who fails who?
Yeah, and I think you said that we all probably think that CM Punk and AJ Lee are getting the win here, but I was surprised. We put out some shorts and some thoughts about previous videos, and there were a lot of people saying like, hey, I don't agree with that. I think maybe Seth and Becky. It's like, oh, okay, well, we'll see, I guess. For this one, in terms of who fails who, I think Becky ends up failing Seth. I think that's just really kind of the easiest thing. And it's if AJ Lee wants that IC title and wants to go after it, like we all kind of guess that she's going to, well, the easiest way to do that is her just to make Becky tap here. Becky's also been a little bit unsure. I know this past week on Raw, she backed up Seth and was like, we're on the same page. You didn't think we are? No, we are. But there's been bits and pieces on multiple episodes of Raw and stuff like that that they haven't really been on the same page. Plus, we've seen Punk and Rollins kind of like at odds. We've seen Punk go after Rollins, get the upper hand time and time again. So something a little bit different, a little bit variety. So I got Becky ended up failing Seth here on this one.
Becky has to be the one that fails Seth Rollins here because this, at the end of the day, is a nice little gimmicky match to get AJ Lee back into the swing of things. And the real story that's gonna take off from this is still Seth Rollins and the Vision, with their hands, grips all over Raw and everything, right? So you need him to still look pretty strong here. You need him to at least look like one day when we do get the one-on-one CM Punk Seth Rollins match, that he still can win that match. We still believe that Seth Rollins is evil and can win that match. Becky, on the other hand, should be going and doing things with AJ Lee after the fact. And the easiest way to do that is, I made you tap, or I pinned you at Wrestlepalooza, so I'm next up for that title. And then we get a huge intercontinental title feud between the two of them. So I think that is 100% how it's going to go, with Becky being the one to fail.
Yeah, and then in terms of the CM Punk Seth stuff, like, I guess I'm on the boat that if Punk does end up taking the title off Rollins, it's at a big stage, right? It's at a Mania type. Well, that's a long ways from now. So you got to kind of, if that is their Mania plan, if that's what they want to do, you got to kind of delay that a little bit.
You mentioned it, though. A lot of the people in our comment section over multiple different areas, Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff. Just going to plug all of it here. Link tree in our bio. A lot of people have actually been saying that Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch should win this thing. Do you understand that? Do you think that that's a good idea for them to win?
I understand it in terms of they think that they want the Vision to stand tall at the end of the day, and they want Becky and Seth to be this united front to go along with the Bronze. If the Bronze get the win here, the Vision does kind of reign supreme after Wrestlepalooza. But to me, I think we've seen that enough in terms of the Raw each and every weeks and after Clash. Like, okay, cool. This is a strong enough united front for me as a whole, as a faction, that if AJ Lee and Punk take the loss here, what's really next for Becky Lynch specifically, right? In terms of Rollins, he'll just kind of continuing to go out there and just cut promos, laughing at everybody. We're the Vision. But in terms of Becky's next challenger and where does Becky Lynch go, I don't see a path. Like, I don't see what would be next for her. So I think almost AJ Lee and CM Punk have to win this thing.
I mean, I look at it more just like, I get when people say the Vision need to stand tall at any moment here, right? Like, the Vision should stand tall in the Uso match, which I do agree with that. But I kind of separate this from the Vision story officially. Like the second AJ Lee skipped back into things, I was like, this is just the mixed tag fun. And Vision just happens to be what Seth Rollins' side project is at the moment for this here story. I don't really see it as a Vision moment. I see it as an AJ Lee moment. And for that reason, I just don't see any real fun reason for AJ Lee to come back, have her amazing return, and then have her leave in honor of making the Vision look stronger. That doesn't connect to me, honestly.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think this is a moment for CM Punk and AJ Lee.
Yeah, that's simple as that.
Great way to put that.
Io Sky and Stephanie Vaquer, they're gonna be fighting each other for that vacant World Heavyweight Championship World Championship that Naomi gave away because of her great pregnancy that she is having right now. Question on our minds though, Asuka and Kairi saying the Kabuki Warriors have been, well, I guess mostly Asuka, have been pissing off everybody that decides to even talk to Io Sky. At Wrestlepalooza, are the Kabuki Warriors going to cost Io Sky the championship?
I think they're going to try. I don't think they're going to end up costing her. I still do have Io winning this thing, but I think they try to. I think maybe you get a run out of Asuka and Kairi, and then also you get a run out of Rhea, maybe a Nikki Bella as well to kind of even the odds, right? This match, I think, has a high probability for a bunch of shenanigans and interference and distractions and all that fun stuff. And at the end of the day, I think they try, but I don't think they end up costing her.
I think they probably end up doing it. And I didn't think that until I saw Rhea approach Stephanie on Monday. The second I saw Rhea approach Stephanie, I was like, okay, that's probably what you do if the Kabuki Warriors do get involved in this. I know that we were all sitting here thinking Io and Rhea versus the Kabuki Warriors directly after this, and that was the route that we were going to go. And that might still be a little bit of a thing, but that could be a little side project for Rhea Ripley. We have Perth right around the corner. If you do want to parlay a Stephanie win into a Stephanie versus Rhea Ripley match in Perth, Australia, on a big stage for Rhea's hometown, that would be great. So I do think that the Kabuki Warriors probably run in there. Asuka gets involved and accidentally costs Io Sky, and we roll that into a nice Io versus Asuka match.
Yeah, I just think that if that's the route they go, I don't personally really like that route. I know we've talked a little bit about Rhea being away from the title scene a little bit. Doesn't feel as heavy or as often. But to me, if you have Stephanie win it here just to lose in a month span to Rhea at Perth, I'm just like, well, that sucks for Steph.
Yeah, I mean, one of the questions here was like, if Steph wins, where does she go from here? And this kind of gets into that. I'm with you. I do think that it would be a little bit, a dud if Steph were to get this win and then we turn around and then we're just like back to Rhea at the end of Perth. But I think you could still continue the EO story and the Kabuki Warriors involved with all of it, maybe even to the point where they screw Rhea Ripley. And so we still get that tag team match down the line. Again, you're asking the question of, okay, well, if Rhea gets dragged right back into the tag team scene at that point, where does Steph go from there? So it is a where does Steph go moment from all sides. You could do Nikki. I don't know what you would do with it, but I just think that the story there right now of giving Stephanie the belt, Steph versus Rhea, and then having Io figure that out for a moment just to get us to Perth sounds fun to me.
Yeah, I've kind of penciled Rhea specifically into Perth in terms of a tag match because it's in her home country. It's Perth. It's on her birthday. She's not losing whatever it is that she does.
That's true.
So it's like, if you have her just go for the title, like, she's winning that title and that kind of stalls out any of the story stuff. I really like the story that they're telling with her and Nikki and the Kabuki Warriors, more specifically Rhea and Asuka. Like, I really enjoyed that stuff. So maybe you could run some sort of tag match. We haven't really gotten that yet. Maybe that ends up being the Perth stuff and you can have Stephanie. I don't really know what you do. That's kind of the bad thing about whoever does win this match is I don't know a path forward really.
Yeah, because if Io wins, we're still probably going to do the Kabuki Warrior stuff, and she probably still needs a partner. So then Io's title reign, once again, doesn't revolve around the title. It's more of like, it'll be tag team stuff and Kabuki Warrior stuff. I don't know. So either way, whoever wins this match, it's a muddy future after that. But either champion is going to be great, right? Yeah. Steph and Io, take that every day of the week. Yeah. Cody Rhodes, he's back. He's on TV.
Yeah.
Woo! Whoa. I wooed instead of woed. Yeah. Whoops.
Disappointing.
Whoa. Anyway, he's facing Drew McIntyre for that WWE Undisputed Championship. Actually, I think it's just the WWE Championship now. Anyway, Randy Orton. He's been involved in all of this. Does Randy Orton get involved in the Cody Rhodes Drew McIntyre match at Wrestlepalooza?
I'm going to say no on this one. I think at the end of the day, at least for me personally, I think this is going to co-main event. I like the idea of Cody Rhodes, Drew McIntyre having an old-fashioned slobber knocker, just who's better than who at Wrestlepalooza on ESPN for the title. I just like that idea of it. Now, you may say Randy makes if he interferes, that's a better storyline. It leads to maybe a triple threat possibility. Yes, that's great. That's fantastic. That also sounds cool. But I also just admittedly want to see Cody defend against Drew McIntyre one-on-one and just deliver a great match.
Not yet. That's what I'll say. Not yet. Randy will get involved with this feud, and I do foresee a triple threat match down the road, but not yet. Let's let these guys, let's let Cody Rhodes come back and have a great one-on-one match against a great opponent when he finally makes his return after being gone since SummerSlam, basically, right? Let's have that happen. Let's give them their moment, and then we can work in Randy Orton over the next few weeks of SmackDown, because SmackDown in itself needs that sort of big-time story involved with it. I'd much rather do that on weekly television on SmackDown, a show that I have found very boring lately, than just shoving it at Wrestlepalooza right away and just saying, hey, let's speed run, let's get to the triple threat match, right? That's what I think.
Wow, how dare you?
Call SmackDown boring?
Yes.
How dare I? What a bad opinion. And then, simply put, what if Drew McIntyre beats Cody Rhodes at WrestlePalooza?
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, but at the same time, if that happens, I'm not going to be upset, because to me, I think Drew McIntyre is long overdue for a title reign. I think Drew McIntyre deserves one. And also, it tells me, hey, we're going to get a great long feud of Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes. So at the end of the day, I'm like, yeah, I don't really see this happening, but at the end of the day, if it happens, am I going to be upset about it? No, because Drew deserves a title reign. You get him and Cody playing a tug of war. Maybe you get Cody and Randy at odds about maybe being a number one contender to fight Drew McIntyre. Maybe that's what they do. So at the end of the day, I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm happy with either result.
I'll be real sad and I'll be real happy, because I love Cody Rhodes. I'm happy if Cody Rhodes beat back. I like Cody Rhodes as my champion. I know that's a hot take nowadays, it seems like, on the interweb, but Drew McIntyre is also awesome. It would shock me like crazy. It would make the first Wrestlepalooza very memorable, so that would give us our big moment if you don't get a big return or something crazy like WWE's been doing lately. So I would enjoy it from that aspect of things. I would also enjoy it from what you just said. Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton would probably both be like, well, I want my lick back on Drew McIntyre, and Randy can point to last Friday, and be like, well, he cheated to beat me. And Cody can be like, well, I was a champ, I deserve a rematch. And then you get a little bit of tussle between those two, and we get some really good story making in the progress there. So I'd be 100% down for it if Drew were to pull off the upset.
Yeah, I also think that'd be great, because Drew wouldn't have to defend the title at all, but he could come out every week on SmackDown and he could cut a promo at Cody Rhodes talking crap about Randy, or vice versa, and he could just kind of just jab at each of them every single week. I think that would be really good.
You see, now it needs to happen. Cody Rhodes needs to lose. Yeah. Sorry, Cody.
The only thing, though, is if Cody Rhodes does lose, one of our faithful members, Khan, will be very upset.
Oh, all those tattoos on his neck would go to waste. Mm-hmm. Peel off tattoos. John Cena and Brock Lesnar. John Cena, I think after this, he only has like 6. This might be the 6th appearance.
He said 6 on Raw. So I think after this, we're down to 5. I don't want to count.
What if our worst nightmare comes true and Brock Lesnar defeats John Cena at WrestlePalooza?
Yeah, there's not very many. You look at this and you can really talk me into almost either option on most of these matches. This is the one, though, that I'm like, no, it has to be John Cena. I don't want it to be Brock Lesnar. It wouldn't make a whole lot of sense for me. We really don't know why Brock Lesnar is here, other than he just wants to fight John. And if he wants to fight John, he should look at the schedule, because John tells you where he's going to be, when he's going to be. But Brock doesn't know how to read. So that's a real struggle. But at the end of the day, you look at it and it's like, where do we go with Brock Lesnar from here? I don't know. You would think that would catapult him into some sort of main event scene, but how long is he going to be around? How often is he going to be around? Nobody really knows. There's a lot of question marks. And as for the John Cena stuff, I feel like it would just be like, no, I don't want this at all on the retirement tour. I want to celebrate John on this retirement tour. I want to keep cheering and just, okay, let's have a great feud here, great feud here, great feud here. I'm not as high on this feud as maybe some people might be, but we're having the match, so it is what it is. And it's like, okay, well, as long as John wins, I'm okay.
As long as John wins, I'm okay. That's exactly it. So if Brock wins, I'm going to be pissed off. We're going to be going into our final 5 John Cena appearances, knowing that he just got pinned by Brock Lesnar. That would just sting. At this point, I want the next pin for John Cena to take to be his very final match at the most, right? On his back, go out the traditional way of professional wrestling, losing to Brock Lesnar after a rivalry where they never once cut a promo in a ring with each other, looking at each other, would suck in his farewell tour. And that would truly suck even more, because all these other feuds that he's had have arguably been better than what we thought they were going to be. They've all been great. So this one not only failed in terms of the build-up, but then Brock Lesnar pins him. hell no, man, I would be mad.
Yeah, and at the same point, too, you look at the last couple of matches for John Cena as well in terms of Logan Paul and Cody Rhodes. You could argue that they're both like 5-star matches. I mean, 4.5 maybe, if maybe you don't want to give the Logan the 5-star, so maybe it's like a 4.5, something like that. So John's in-ring ability has been really, really good, putting on some really, really good matches. I don't foresee this being a great 5-star match, right? So at the end of the day, it's like I get a crappy match with a crappy finish to finish Wrestlepalooza. That would suck.
That would suck. Where do you want this to lead? Where does this lead? Does John Cena? John Cena pins Brock Lesnar? Do we get the music hitting for the next opponent? Do we get the next music hitting for Brock's opponent? Does somebody run out and screw Brock Lesnar or John Cena? And that's how we set up those paths. Like, where do we even want this when it's all said and done? Where are we wanting the path to be set?
Yeah, so I don't really have like a clear thought on it. I guess if I had a way to do it, it would be the music would hit, and that would be John Cena's next opponent coming out on the ramp, on the stage, looking around or something like that. And you're like, oh, that's who's coming after John Cena. I don't really want the interference to happen in the match per se, but that's how I'd maybe book what's next for John. The music hits. I mean, I know this is going to sound terrible, but you mentioned The Rock, right? Hypothetically, if they wanted to do something like big like that, like that's the level it would have to be. It doesn't have to be like The Rock exactly, but it has to be somebody big if that's how you're going to do that. And the issue is I have no idea who it would be, right? So it's like you're kind of stuck. You might just have John Cena posing, and I don't know what happens after that.
No shenanigans, match ends clean. I don't care if it's one of those old school John Cena, Brock Lesnar matches where Brock beats the living hell out of John Cena. Then we get, 2 minutes of Super Cena and he somehow pulls it off and he's standing tall. At the end of the day, clean win with no strings attached between the two of them. Leave this in the back burner. I don't care if we don't see Brock till the Royal Rumble at this point, honestly. Leave him in the back burner for John Cena, and let's just leave Wrestlepalooza clean. I don't want any more Brock Cena storyline at all. The next time I see John Cena, I want it to be a completely different thing than the Brock Lesnar stuff. So at the end of the day, I don't care what Brock's path looks like, but I want Cena's path to be clear. We got 5 left. Let's get something good going. That's all I want.
Yeah, exactly. I'm right there with you. And that's the thing, though, is where does he go? Who is next sort of thing, right? So it's like I could see something like that, but at the same time, if it's some random, it would have to be that level of return, an appearance. I don't want The Rock to come back to face John Cena. Don't get me wrong, but that's the type of level I'd have to be like, oh my God, we're ending Wrestlepalooza on this note. And that's kind of what they've been doing as of late.
That's true. You could get a big time return. Maybe it's Edge. Adam Copeland.
Chris Jericho.
No. Oh God.
That would be cool. I know his contract. I don't think his contract's over till like January or December or something, but that would be cool.
Break the wall down. I would like that. Anyway, those were our answers to the biggest Wrestlepalooza questions. Let us know in the comments your answers to all these great questions because we love having conversations with all of you. And then for everything else, make sure to check out our live stream for Wrestlepalooza this weekend, youtube.com/COD WrestlePod. Be there for SmackDown as well, and then the Raw following, and then we just keep on going, right? And then for everything else for the podcast, it's at COD WrestlePod, COD WrestlePod. We have a link tree in our bio. It'll take you to all of our social medias. Please like, subscribe, and follow and share to all those. We would appreciate and love you for it. But I'm Will. That's Brandon. We're the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast, and we will see you next time.